Hi everyone. Yes, well, we're sorry, we're back now. Basically just due to a few technical issues there, we weren't coming across very well, so I've started a new. So we'll just get the guests back, and then we'll be away again. Okay, yes, so yes, we're hopefully on this new one now. Yes, on this new one, hopefully the connection will come through. I've set it on one if I was on Safari before, but then it suddenly said it doesn't support streaming, and so I loaded up Chrome. I'm on Chrome now. Yeah. So yeah, we're just waiting for the others to hopefully rejoin us. Hiya, mate. You all right?
It's like you finally got yourself.
Yeah, for some reason. Yeah, I was on Safari, you know, the Apple search engine, and then it suddenly said I think it needs an update. So it suddenly said that it doesn't support streaming, so I had to load up Chrome.
Right. Yeah, so it sounds like you might be a bit out of date on it. Then Safari's not exactly the best system to use. It's a bit buggy.
Yeah.
Is that on your phone?
Oh no, I'm on my computer.
Right. It's not a Safari. It's a good system on phones, but it's not quite up to scratch on PCs. Probably why you're having problems.
Yeah.
But we're all here now.
Yeah, I'll just try to see if Carl comes back if he wants to.
No, just to throw it out there. Have you watched it yet? The official reveal teaser for season 9.
I have, yes.
That really took me by surprise. They're bringing back
it did.
Like bloody hell, Sombra has not been mentioned since season 2. Oh no, sorry, season 3. Yes, sure it was season 3. Well, yeah, season 3. I think it's sure it's season 3. Opening where it's still Kingdom for the first time. Yeah, can't believe. I mean, bloody hell! Talk about saving the best till last.
Yeah.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and get caught up, and hopefully before it comes out. So.
Yeah, I got plenty of time there. I think it's sometime in April. I think it starts. You've got at least probably just over a month, just a month and a bit probably.
Yeah. So are you looking forward to it then?
Yes, very much. I am looking forward to it. It's a bit strange because the funny thing is, this year almost everything that I'm kind of like into, all like the stuff I'm kind of watching, it all finishes this year. I mean, like Game of Thrones, that finishes this year. But end.
I never really got into it. I started watching. I got the first series box set of Game of Thrones. I only watched a couple of episodes. I need to watch it again.
It's not everyone's cup of tea.
I like what I watched. I mean, but it's just that I'm into so much. I mean, I'm making now. I've got this good new computer. I'm making a lot more videos now.
No, I need to catch up really. Cause
You all right?
I'm a bit behind. Look, about 2 or 3 episodes behind that. No, on your current YouTube series.
Right, how am I coming through this time?
It's all right. Don't worry.
Oh, so fuck knows what that was.
Good, yeah. I'm on Chrome now.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
I was
on
Safari, which is the Apple search engine.
Yeah,
I'm on Chrome. So.
Yeah, I'm going to say, don't know what it was. It's just everything seemed to fucking grind to a halt, and then I'm like, oh, I'll restart because fuck knows what was going off in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, anyways, what's going down?
No, not really. We were just confirming. Well, me and Lawrence have got the hotel sorted for TF Nation this year, and that's all kind of in the bag.
Yeah.
Not a lot else going on. Anything interested in your life, Carl? Anything happening?
Don't be stupid.
Yeah, silly question.
Yeah, fuck all happens in my fucking life. And usually when it does, it comes on very, very quickly, and it's crap. Well, I say I miss the days when like actually look forward to getting up in the morning.
I say I often miss the 90s.
Well, the 90s were just as bad as what they are now. See, this is one of the things that people go like, oh, it were a lot easier living in the 80s or the 90s or the 50s or whatever. But they weren't really. It's just same shit, but different decade. Yeah.
We're now nearly at the start of another decade, and it doesn't look like things are going to get that much better. So.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, there was a thing on Facebook. I think yesterday, somebody posted what they call it. It said 37 pictures of punk culture in the 1980s or something like that, or 70s, 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And just looking at pictures, and it were more or less the same as what it is now, except obviously, the young uns weren't all standing around staring at the smartphones. They were actually talking to each other and doing things. And then it's like they all had the punk fashion.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so what I loved about the 90s was, that was a decade when I think certainly from the early 90s to the late 90s, kids still enjoy playing plastic things. I remember getting up on Saturday mornings and, while I was watching my Saturday morning TV, there'd be all those great toy adverts or they used to have all those adverts and Tomy adverts and all that. And that's what I remember.
Yeah. You get up on a Saturday morning. I mean, the only one I can properly remember from back then. Can't remember how old I was. I think it was about 91, 92, something like that. And I got up and watched. Where is it? At some stupid time in the morning, I think.
1 or 2 years old then.
Yeah, nobody else were up. I put telly on, and I think I got myself like a bowl of cereals or something like that. And I put ITV on, and there was back in the days when there was still TV. Was it either TVAM or something like that? And Top Banana come on? That's an old one. Yeah, Top Banana.
No, I don't think I remember that.
It was the what they call it. They did on.
I remember like.
Yeah, it says it's about like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's obviously Saturday morning. There's something going off here because it's like suddenly getting choppy as fuck.
You two keep breaking up.
Yeah,
I can hear you. I can hear you all right. Oh. Oh, you've come in again, Sam.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Sam just disappeared and then reappeared.
As I say, I remember when I was like 5 and 6 and stuff to 7, 8, and 9. That's the time I remember like being, getting up in the morning and on Saturdays and like, yeah, things I remember just like that, like a GMTV Saturday. I had like that Saturday Disney thing, like that. Like, and all the kids they're like the Gunge Tower and stuff, and and then after that they have the double bill of Power Rangers. Yeah. And Mr. Motivator.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I remember it's like so this is from the early 90s. Yeah, it's like I think it was like Top Banana came on at like 7. They'd have like a TVAM would come on, and then they'd have like an hour of news, and then 7 o'clock they'd have that's when kids program start between 7 and half 9, and then it'd be like Top Banana for an hour. And then they'd have like just cartoons on until 9:30, and then 9:30 you get like Motormouth or something like that come on. And I just remember that's one of the kind of thing, the only thing I can remember from everything else. As it gets later, everything else just sort of blurs away.
Yeah, I remember. I've probably still got this videotape from GMTV Saturday 1995 when my dad was taped. We taped like it's just got like about 2.5 shows from GMTV Saturday, and it started off with Saturday Disney, then I've got the double bill of Power Rangers. They used to call it the Power Hour with Mr. Motivator in between, and then they had that show called Scratchy and
Scratchy and Co,
which was like another sort of like Saturday Disney.
Yeah, Scratchy and Co that was presented by Mark Spate.
Yeah,
and the first series, didn't he? Yeah, the first series they did of that was he had like full prosthetic on, like hands and like hair and facial stuff.
Yeah,
and it was in a studio, and then second series of it. Second series of it. Yeah. I remember that, and then he killed himself for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, man. I am getting some serious chop. Just hang on, I'm just going to check my connection again, because it's like I say, I am getting some really serious chop. I can see and hear myself fine. It's just that you're stuttering around all over the place, and your picture keeps going off, and then obviously Sam's disappeared. So there's something going on with the connection, or something going on either with the call or the connection.
I can hear you all right.
Yeah, just hang on, let me just check. No, 16 up, 3 down, so I shouldn't be having any problems.
Oh yeah, because he can. He's having some issues.
I'm going to say when Sam was sat there, his bloody lights, his lights in his shed or whatever kept going off. So I wonder if he's got like some up some up thing there. Also, I'll just check Facebook, see if he's sent anything, but he hasn't. So that's all right. Yeah. But yeah, the what they call it, the Saturday morning thing. I mean, we were on about it a while ago on one of the thingies there, and we're talking years ago on one of the kind of podcasts I used to go on, and they were saying, it's like now it's Saturday morning, it's all shows about cooking for some reason. Yeah, and it doesn't matter even with Freeview, even with Freeview or Sky, channels.
I mean, back in the 90s, there weren't as many people that had digital TV. I mean, we didn't. My family didn't have digital TV till 1999. No. Watched by then, they'd pretty much moved to digital TV, like Fox Kids and that.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I can remember once we went somewhere. It's like to my mum's mate's house, and it was just Saturday afternoon, and like they were sat there talking, and I'm just sat there like a fucking gooseberry, And they just said, like, oh, if you're bored, just, you know, here's remote for telly, you know, we've got Sky, so you can sit and watch Sky. And I was like, oh, all right. So I just went and sat in this chair that they've got facing telly. And then they're talking away, and I just sort of picked up the remote.
Yeah.
And I just picked over thingy. And fucking hell, there was Cartoon Network on, and they were showing, what is it? I sat and watched about 4 or 5 episodes of Centurions, which I hadn't seen for years at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And
remember that.
I can't remember what it was. And I was just like, you know, we didn't have Sky at home. And it was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I was desperate to have digital TV because you have to have Sky. And I got it as one of my birthday presents.
Yeah.
We ordered the satellite dish.
Mm. Well, that's it for a long time round. For a long time round where I lived, if you lived in a council house, you weren't allowed to have Sky. Because they brought this thing in that said, what is it, the council would, if you put a Sky dish up on your house, council would come and remove it because they said, oh, you need planning permission, you know, to put a Sky dish up. And it went for years where nobody were getting like Sky dish, and then somebody actually did do it and challenged them over it because they said, you know, there's nothing in the, you know, the tenancy agreement that says that you can't, and it's just a TV aerial, you know, it's just the same as a TV aerial. So you don't need planning permission to put a TV aerial up, so you don't need planning permission to put a Sky.
No,
and then
Sky is something you pay for. It's not something you pay for it.
Yeah,
it's not something that housing associations, the council pays for you. Yeah.
No, and that's what I said there. And then all of a sudden people started getting Sky, but we didn't because we couldn't fucking afford it. No, I don't know. It's
I don't. I think I'm
even now, you know, even with the digital tele, you know, like your Freeview box and your Sky and everything like that, it's like you flip through on a Saturday morning all the channels that's there. You know, there's at least 1,000 channels you can flick through. You flick through that on a Saturday morning at about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
there's still no Saturday morning cartoons.
No,
nothing in the spirit of Saturday morning cartoons either. I mean, the closest you get with Freeview is like, you know, all the kids stuff is towards the end, you know, and there's CBBS and CBBC channel, and then was it CITV and stuff like that. And there's nothing more.
You got Pop and Tiny Pop and Kicks and that.
Yeah, Pop and that. Yeah, and then it's like, was it CITV? It's like every time I seem to look on CITV channel, it's just, was it fucking Mr. Bean the animated series? And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, and it's like you never hear of any kind of new cartoons or all coming out. Occasionally you'll hear like Voltron. That, you know, that's a good old Saturday morning cartoon. But it's on Netflix, which is fine. You know, you can watch Netflix on your telly.
Yeah, Defender. It's
just Voltron. Yeah, it's just Voltron. That's it. It's like, what happens to like Voltron and E-Man and, you know, all stuff like that.
Yeah, but this legendary Defender Voltron, that started out as a Netflix series, I think. But now I think it's aired on TV.
Yeah, but you can still watch it. You know, I mean, it's like my telly. You know, if I got an Ethernet cable, I could just plug the box is downstairs, but you know, I'd need a long Ethernet cable. If I just plug the Ethernet cable into the back of telly, I could watch Netflix on this telly. You know, I'm sure I can probably set up a wireless connection between the telly and wireless box, but I can't be bothered because I don't see the point. I hardly watch telly anymore, and I've got this an Xbox, so I can watch fucking Netflix and stuff on that if I want, or YouTube. You know, but yeah, there's.
You have it.
Do
you have a Netflix subscription?
No. I don't see the point. There's not enough stuff on it. I mean, it's like true. You know, we begrudgingly pay TV license, but I think that's going to stop now after what's been going off this past couple of weeks with regards to the BBC and you know, like fucking Tommy Robinson and that. I think that's going to stop because we don't watch telly. You know, it's like my mum watches the soaps. You know, like she watches Coronation Street and Emmerdale and stuff like that. We don't watch anything on BBC, and I just don't see the point in paying it. I mean, especially
the only thing I watch is on ITV now.
Yeah, especially as they put the license fee up. And it's like, well, what is this license fee paying for?
I know.
The stuff I used to like watching on the BBC, either I don't watch anymore, or it's moved to another channel. Like I used to watch Top Gear. Top Gear's crap now. I watch Grand Tour instead. That's not BBC,
Yeah,
so I don't have
if you
to
think about it, anyone can get an account on the BBC iPlayer, though, and they can watch on that.
Yeah,
I was trying to catch
that's
up
what
on
my mum
Doctor Who.
does. That's what my mum does with her soaps most of the time. She gets up like on either Saturday, Sunday morning. If she's missed any of them, she'll sit and binge watch it all on ITV Hub or whatever it's called. You know, and it's like I said, what's the point in paying license fee now? You know, it's like I say. I mean, it's what is it? I mean, it keeps popping out of my fucking bank every month. You know, £12 summer, and it's like, well, I can think, you know, not even half that. I can get a Netflix or an Amazon, Amazon TV or whatever it's called, if I wanted to. But then again, there's not even that much on either Netflix or Amazon TV that I want to watch either. So. You know, I mean, I've been sat, past fortnight, I've been sat, I mostly watch YouTube now, stuff on YouTube, or, you know, like DVDs or whatever, or stuff on streaming.
There used to be a lot of full episodes of things on YouTube in good quality. As soon as they tend to get taken off, and you can only find clips of things. Yeah,
there's some sort. I mean, I've watched the entire series of Cop Car Workshop on YouTube. That's on Dave. I think it is. It's the channel it's on is Dave. So I could have watched it on the telly if I wanted, you know, through Freeview Box. But it's more convenient for me to watch it on YouTube because it's not on. I don't know. I've never been able to find like, you know, iPlayer for Dave or whatever. Not a decent one anyway. And then they don't show. You can't watch the series if you know what I mean. I mean, the only real thing that I watched on BBC was Doctor Who. Even now, I'm not. It's like I said. Now I'm just not bothered about Doctor Who anymore. So it's like, you know, whenever the next series comes out, you know, which the saying was it next. Well, we've finished with series for this year, or whatever. So I'm presuming that there'll be a Christmas special again or something like that. When that comes out, I'll just catch it on iPlayer, or I'll just catch it on, you know, I mean, you know, you're supposed to say, but I might just get it off fucking BitTorrent, you know. Or it'll probably turn up on YouTube.
I've got really good Panasonic TV, and I've got Preview on my TV, so I wouldn't need Sky anymore.
No, I mean, we packed in with Sky years ago, and we used to have Sky Digital. Back in the days when basically what you did was you got your Sky Digital box, and then you paid for a package. And all we had was the package with, you know, just the basic channels and the film channels. That's it. We didn't want the sport. We weren't bothered about the sports channels. We weren't bothered about any of the specialty channels or all like that. And the price of that just kept going up and up and up and up. And then they changed the format to like, oh, well, you get like the basic package, and then you have to pay X amount a month if you want fucking Sky Atlantic or whatever it is, and then X amount if you want this film channel. We just said, no, it's too expensive. You know, so we're packed in with Sky, and we were using a Sky box as a FreeSat box for a while, you know, because you could get, you know, obviously, you know, you own the box, you own the card, and you got satellite dish, so you could still pick up FreeSat. And then they sort of did something a bit dodgy to make it so that after a while, you know, like you'd be sat there with your card in the box, and it would just the box would just grind up to a halt, and you'd take your card out, and it'd be fine. But you'd be restricted to, you know, like BBC and ITV channels. You put your card back in, it'd play fine for a while, and then it'd grind up to a halt again. And that's it. So we just went, sod it. You know, it's like, shall we get a FreeSat box? And it was like, back then, a FreeSat box were like 200 quid. It's like, now what's the point? Just get a Freeview box. You pick a Freeview box up for like a £5. You know, so I've got a Freeview box, and then it's as we've got, you know, as we've got rid of old tellies and got newer tellies, they've all got a Freeview box built in, so we don't need it anymore. In Bugger me, we were cleaning shed out yesterday, and we found a box, you know, from when we moved, and a lot of stuff just got boxed up and chucked in shed, and we were going to sort it out at some point, you know, but we didn't get around to doing that till yesterday, and we've lived here for like, 2 years now. And we're going through, we found a box, and it had got a DVD player, and two Freeview boxes in it. And it's just like, well, we don't need DVD player anymore. It's like, you know, the only person that watches DVDs in this house is me, and I watch them through my Xbox, so we don't need a DVD player. And you know, and then these Freeview boxes, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll put them on eBay and we'll you know, sell them. It's like nobody will buy them because there's no point in them. It's like you'd be lucky if you get, you know, if you put them up.
Well, right now on my shelf right now, I've still got my very first PS2. It's just something that found and obviously came to my flat with me. I doubt I'll ever use it again, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if at some point they're going to do a classic PS2. I mean, the PS2 was a good console.
Yeah. I mean, I saw something the other day and it said, what is it? The PS6. They're looking for, I don't know if it's Christmas this year or Christmas next year release. They've said that apparently the PS6 will have full backwards compatibility with everything. You know, basically PS1 through PS5 games.
I think they've said, though, that it's not going to have a disk drive on it. It's all going to be digital.
Ability thing, but I mean, one of the things I said years ago is before long there won't be any, you know, physical media, you know, to play games with. I mean, you know, the Xbone I've got here, it's most. I mean, it's like my mate. He mostly just gets stuff digital, but the problem with that is that you don't get the best price for them. I mean, I got Forza Horizon 4 for 25 quid from Argos, and that's the cheapest I've found it. You what? Sorry?
Yeah, I buy most things on physical copy. I mean, the only things I do for my Xbox usually when I've got Xbox Gold, which I haven't had for over a year because I haven't used it. Usually, if something I want, then I'll download it. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, you don't always get.
It's a shame because it'd be very hard to keep gaming.
Yeah, and that's what I say. You don't always get the best.
It'd be a shame for the No, you're right, and it'll be a disaster for shops like Game, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
if it's digital media.
Well, that's it. I mean, look at Granger Games. They ended up shutting down because I mean, if you go into any game shop now and you look at the PC games section, it's either it's tiny or non-existent, other than Steam cards. You know, it's really hard to buy a game on a disc for a PC.
Blizzard cards, Steam cards. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, you go in and the sections for games for like Xbox and PlayStation are getting smaller and smaller, and it's like Granger Games. That's what happened to them because they were getting smaller. They started trying to branch out into turn themselves into a game shop and a geek shop. You know, and they started selling pops and all stuff like that, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Then they ended up doing the dirty on the staff by, you know, oh yeah, we're all right. And then when they turn up for work one morning, sorry, company's gone bust, you're all out of a job, clear shop out, and you know, I'd have told them to fuck right off.
As I say, I mean, in Leicester, where I'm from, we had. I mean, we've still got CEX. So I think CEX are doing well because they get profit off pre-owned stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
But I mean, like the Games Workshop where you can play your car games and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's moved from place to place in the city. It's in a cafe at the moment, and like we had a really good game shop called Game World, which sold mostly secondhand stuff. Like it sold games, DVDs, CDs, all games from all generations, and it started selling like secondhand comics, manga, and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh, and they had a Games Workshop in there. But they also had tables where you could take your portable consoles and stuff and sit and play. But that's now gone down.
Yeah. Well, stuff is. I mean, it's like CEX. they sell a lot of new, you know, they've got a section with all the new stuff. I mean, the one that's in Doncaster, it's over 2 floors. The downstairs bit is, you know, like games and electronics. And then the upstairs is just more like DVDs and stuff like that. I've never gone upstairs in there because I can't climb up the stairs. They're really steep and I can't get up them. But they seem to, with CX and Doncaster, a lot of their trade seems to be from, you know, like selling phones.
Yeah.
Like phones and you know, PC parts and stuff like that, you know.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, something I know I'm getting tomorrow, it's a brand new one. But I've been looking at getting a capture card. I think you know, I've heard you talk about them before. You know, the things you can use to capture your game footage on your consoles to videos.
Yeah.
I've got one coming tomorrow. My dad's ordered it for me for an Easter present.
Yeah.
And I wanted one for a while, but you know, I was looking at the one I've got's coming off Amazon. It's
yeah. And you have to be careful with capture cards because it's like I say, a guy I know, he does a gaming channel on YouTube, and I can't remember which one it was, but he bought one, and it was supposed to be, you know, when he looked at stats and everything, it was like, yeah, it can easy capture, you know, like PlayStation and Xbox stuff, you know, no problem. And he had it plugged in, and even on its highest settings, it's like it would go in through to TV fine, but then when you go back and look at the recordings, it would choppy as fuck.
Oh God. I mean, do you use one?
No, I haven't got one. The only time I tend to do gaming stuff is on you know, on PC. Using Streamlabs.
You're right. Talk about this on here. I don't know exactly. You know, when you do the Sega games and stuff.
Yeah.
You don't actually play them on a Sega console.
No, it's you know, like emulators. I use Fusion.
Yeah,
it's called. Well, it used to be called Kega Fusion, but now it's just called Fusion. And it's like I say, I was using Streamlabs OBS as a capture. But I don't know why. But all of a sudden, out of the blue, there was an update to Streamlabs OBS, and it would not smoothly capture anything. I fiddled with settings, and it's even while I was playing the game. I don't know whether it just suddenly became a RAM hog or something, but it's like I can switch on Fusion. I mean, I tried doing a video on Urban Strike, which is one of my favorite games, and I switched on Fusion, played, you know, just played a bit of it just so I could remember how to play it properly, kind of thing. And then I switched, you know, Streamlabs, you know, slobs on, and you know, it was all set up. You know, I've got templates laid out and everything so that it can capture the, you know, like capture the screen footage is you know, sort of up in the top right of the screen and takes up most of the screen. And then just the, you know, pitch and stuff down the bottom and everything like that. And as I was recording it, you know, after I'd finished, I just watched the recording back, and it was just slow and choppy as hell. It was dropping frames. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, it was literally, it was like,
it's the whole time wasted, really, isn't it, when that happens?
Yeah.
But
and it's like I thought there, and I thought, what the hell? So I had a fiddle with settings. Because I thought, oh, maybe I'll just have to like drop it down, you know, drop the capture quality down a bit or something like that, you know, just to, you know, just so it's like, yeah, the picture might be a little bit blurry. It might not be in like full glorious HD or whatever, but you'll still be able to see on the screen and see what I'm doing. And it made no difference. I tried doing it, recording it without just recording the game sound and not me talking, you know, and then doing dubbing on the voiceover later.
Yeah.
Absolutely no difference. So it's like, that's why I haven't done any game videos for a while. Even did the same. I tried what they call it with the Spectrum as well. I tried recording a can't remember which Spectrum game it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I recorded like Jet Set Willy, Jetpack, and stuff like that, no problem. But then after this update and whatever, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
It won't record Spectrum. It won't record anything smoothly. You know, whether it's Spectrum, you know, Nintendo, Master System, Mega Drive. I dread to think what would happen if I tried recording fucking like PlayStation and Saturn. You know, but so that's something I've had to basically give up on because the software done. I mean, all right, so my laptop's getting a bit old now. I mean, it's only got 4 gig of RAM, but that should be more than adequate to record fucking you know, Spectrum and C64 games. I mean, fucking hell, we're not talking about, you know, 1080p, fucking 4K or whatever, you know, graphics. I really don't know what the fuck's going on. I mean, fucking hell, I managed to record myself playing Kerbal Space Program. You know, on me, Kerbal is a massive resource hog, but yeah, I managed to record using slobs. Managed to flawlessly record about an hour's worth of gameplay footage with me talking over the top of it. No choppiness or anything like that. And now it won't even record a fucking Spectrum game. So I don't know. It's like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that my one's quite an up to date one, but I've had to make sure it's compatible with Mac, obviously, because I'm an Apple user.
Right, that's just another black mark against your name. Ponies and a fucking Mac Panther. And you voted Remain, so I'm sorry, that's 3 black marks.
Oh well.
Yeah, you voted Remain. Sorry, I'm having to shuffle about here. I've had some right jump with my back these past few days. Oh. I don't know why. For some reason, over the past week or so, my back's just been giving me some right hell. Oh, I can't get fucking comfy or anything, even in bed.
Well, as I say, I don't know how much of the deal Brexit will be to us in terms of travelling, because my family and I, we're applying. We should be applying for Irish passports if it happens. So.
Oh, fuck off!
We're entitled to Irish passports. So.
Yeah, you're entitled to. The only difference I foresee is that if you've still got a British passport, and you know, obviously, if you're entitled to apply for an Irish one, it means you know you can have dual citizenship or whatever. But the only difference will be is if you're wanting to go somewhere, you'll have to apply for a visa, which takes 10 minutes of your 10 minutes of your life, and 99.99% of the time there'll be no problem. They'll just say, "Yeah, fair enough." That's it. That's literally it. I mean, I was talking to somebody, you know, on Facebook, and they were saying about it and saying, you know, like, well, how are we going to travel? And I just said, well, you just apply for a travel visa to that country, and you know, 99% of the time they'll just say, yeah, fair enough. It's like, yeah, but you know, that's not very convenient. And it's like, yeah, but convenience isn't a fucking, you know, you're not entitled to convenience. You know, that's what people used to have to do. You know, I mean, when I say that's what people used to have to do, I'm not talking like in the 50s.
No,
you know, I'm talking like early 2000s. You still had to apply for a visa, even for certain places in Europe. You know, I mean, I went to Spain in 2003, and I didn't have to apply for a visa for there because they were in the kind of what's called the, you know, like the Eurozone area or whatever.
Yeah,
so you just literally get off the plane.
It was around that time, wasn't it? Yeah. That Europe got rid of all its individual currencies and went to the euro.
Well, no, the euro had been around since the sort of mid-90s. That's when they brought the euro in.
I remember being with my dad and stuff in Germany, like back in when I was really little, and they still had like Deutschmarks and French francs.
As far as I know, they still have. Yeah, I can remember when it came in because when I was I think it was while I was still at college, they were using euros then. So we're talking 96, 97, you know. But before that, I think only the year before, about 95, a mate of mine went to France and they were still using francs. So they switched over sometime about then. I know it was at first it was France. Was it France, Germany, Italy, Spain?
You know, in Poland they don't have the euro; they still have zlotys.
Yeah, they still have zlotys. Yeah, because they're not insane like us. Like us, we went. They went, oh, you've got to come over to euro, and what did we do? It was while John Major was still Prime Minister. We did a thing where we started, where they were seriously looking into converting from pound to euro, and they linked the pound to the Deutschmark.
Yeah.
At a rate of, I think it was £1 to 20 Deutschmarks or something like that. And that went all right for a while, but then all of a sudden, Germany had that little bit of a problem where, you know, all those people from East Germany suddenly stopped being communists. And that meant that basically then Germany had to pay for another part of the country that they hadn't kind of, you know, budgeted for. So they went, all right, a pound is now worth, you know, like, you know, 5 Deutschmarks or something daft like that, or more, and it nearly bankrupted this fucking country.
Yeah.
So it was that one event that basically stopped us from going into the euro, because it's like we don't want to give up the pound much anyway. You know, if we're going to give up the pound, there's got to be a good reason for it. And shit like that happening really didn't give us any inclination to drop the pound. It's the same with Poland. You know, it's Poland and Romania and all stuff like that. When, yeah, we'll join the EU, but for business purposes only. We're not joining the EU to be part of yet another Soviet Union. And that's why it's Eastern Europe is, well, it's like I say, it's Poland, Romania, Hungary, and all stuff like that. You know, the old former, you know, East European communist bloc states.
Yeah.
They're not going to bow their knee to the fucking EU ever. They'll come out of the fucking EU before they do hotels, because it's like I said, they were all, you know, part of the Soviet Union for decades, and they know what happens when they have centralized control. You know, which is basically what it is. It's just it's like I said, the Soviet Union wasn't one country, but on paper it wasn't, but in reality it was. And somebody that's like, you know, it's like they said there in Poland, you know, somebody in Brussels decides that people in Warsaw can't do this, that, or whatever anymore.
Oh.
Whether they've asked the people of Warsaw whether they're okay with that or not, you know, and they don't want that again. You know, they've had enough of that. I mean, the guy that's what they call him, him that's Sargon's mate on YouTube, he's Romanian, and it's like he said, well, a lot of the stuff that the EU are doing. I mean, he's old enough to remember. You know, I think he's older than me actually, but he lived during the Soviet era, you know, under Ceausescu and stuff like that in Romania. And you know, he's like he says there, he's old enough to remember these things happening, and some of the stuff the EU is doing is basically exactly the same as what, you know, the communists wanted to do. And it's like he says there, he says, so, you know, people aren't going to just bow down to the EU and accept, you know, the European Soviet Republic, you know, and we need to be away from them unless they have a serious look at themselves and realize what they're doing. But the problem is, you've got all those that are high up in the EU Commission. They're wanting it to become a you know, a Soviet Union style system. Yeah. And it's not going to happen. You know, it's like they say, it's starting to cry. I mean, you've got, you know, Britain's done Brexit, and now our fucking government's trying their best to avoid it. You know, the people don't want that. You know, they're trying to avoid it. The people don't want that, and they're just making themselves look making themselves, and by extension us, look stupid. You know, and you know, you've got Greece. Yeah, you've got Greece and all that. Greece, the Eastern European countries and stuff are all not. The Italians as well are seriously not impressed with the EU. And it's going to basically, unless the EU changes back to roughly what it was in sometimes circa the early 1990s, you know, where it's just basically a business arrangement, rather than rather than a centralized government, the EU is going to disintegrate.
Yeah, it will. That's what they're saying anyway. So in the long run, Brexit may not make as much difference in years to come if the EU just breaks up. Yeah,
the problem is though is if you're still an EU member state when it does disintegrate, what happened? Yeah, well, look at what happened in Eastern Europe when the Soviet Union disintegrated. It's the countries were like shitholes for years because they hadn't established themselves as independent countries before their lifelines all disappeared. You know, so if you're still an EU member state when the EU disintegrates, all your lifelines are gone. You know, it's like at the minute, if a country's having difficulty, it can just go to the EU and ask for money. You know, which is basically what Spain's been doing for the past 25 years. you know, and it's like, say, if the EU disappears, then Spain will go bankrupt because they haven't got enough fucking money to live on.
Yeah.
I mean, the what they call it, the EU's bankrupt Greece, and what did they do to Ireland? They basically bankrupted Greece and had a really, really good try at bankrupting Ireland as well. You know, and, it's like what the fuck are you doing? You know, it's like, oh yeah, we want to stay in the EU. Why? So that you can end up having to queue up for bread.
Yeah. Well, yeah. What will be will be.
Yeah.
You know.
Stalina. If I do, I can't remember that. I can never remember the fucking words to the Soviet national anthem. But yeah, that's gonna fucking die. That's gonna fucking die. I mean, I was keeping up with the news on the whole Brexit thing, but I've just stopped. I seen the other day that fucking Zelda had been in Parliament again, saying, "What is it? We need to put everything off until June, and then we'll have a meaningful vote." And it's like, well, we had a meaningful vote before, and you got defeated, and just coming back with the same plan and putting it up as a meaningful vote again is probably not going to work. And when she says, "Oh, we need to sort it out," basically what she's meaning is we need to badger people until they say, you know, like, all right, we'll agree with that shitty plan that you had.
Yeah. Well, if we were to get the second referendum, would you vote again? Or?
Well, yeah, of course I'd vote again, and I'd vote leave again. Because that's what I say. I voted in the original referendum to leave. Not because it's like, you know, they keep saying like, oh, people didn't understand what they were voting for. It was a very simple question. Do you want Britain to stay in the EU or not? You know, and your answer was leave or remain. So, you know, it's all the other stuff that they've come up with, like, oh yeah, there was that bus going around that said the NHS could have £350 million a week, and that turned out to be a lie, which technically isn't a lie. But you know, that's a fucking 5-hour explanation of why it's not a lie. But yeah, so I voted leave because, you know, it's like I said, the main reason why I voted leave was because of the overreach of Europe and meddling in our internal affairs, immigration and border control, and I can't remember what the other one. There were 3 main reasons. And the other one is, oh yeah, I don't like the French, so, you know. France, pair. They call us wibs and whoopsies. Well, that's because you are fucking frogs. Yeah. That's it. If I voted, if they had another referendum, I would vote leave again for exactly the same reasons, with even more conviction, being as that, you know, over the past couple of years, the EU really has shown its true face, and the people that support it have shown their true colours.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a fucking article. You know, there's that Article 13.
Yeah.
There's the whole, was it Article 13 and Article 11 thing they're trying to get in, you know, so that basically turns the internet into the same internet as what they have in China, where you can't read anything that's just slightly criticises the government.
Sorry,
you know, and you're going for a shit. So anyway, I don't even know whether anybody's watching this on YouTube because I'm not even looking at YouTube. Let's have a look at YouTube. Let's have a look at YouTube.
Yeah. Back again. I don't know where Sam's got to.
Well, that's it. It's like I said, if you watched in background when he were on, the lights in his, you know, and he's flickering on and off. And it's, you know, we're talking and, you know, we were talking and his lights kept going on and off. So I'm just wondering if it's like he's got some sort of power problem down.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's, that might be the thing. Or it might be fucking Kingston Telecom again. Or was it Kingston? What's their internet service called? They had a really stupid name. I can't remember. But yeah, the what they call it? What's what's in the? I was on saying there about the you know, like pain I'm on. I was on about the other day on one of the, you know, like thingy groups I'm on, disability groups, and somebody said to me, like, oh, have you tried what called, you know, chiropractic adjustment? And I says, well, I know chiropractic adjustment is quite big in America and stuff like that, but not so much here. And I know that it has very little, if any, benefits to you, except if it's lower back pain you're suffering from. And I thought, oh, I'll look into it. And I found a video of a guy, and he seemed to be quite good, you know, showing you know, him doing stuff on this lass who, you know, it's because I looked at it and you know, I looked it up as, you know, chiropractic with, you know, for people with fibromyalgia, because that's the main thing. It's obviously, you know, it's like cracking your bones and twisting your muscles and everything. It's like, well, that's going to cause me excruciating pain. And I looked it up, and it's like, you know, this lass with fibromyalgia, and he's doing all stuff to her, and she's like, oh yeah, I feel a lot better and whatnot. And it's at first I didn't realise, and then I watched a couple more of his videos, and he quite literally does exactly the same thing for everybody. That you know, regardless of what you know, problem they come to him with, including weird, including and then it's like I say, I noticed as well. You know, it's one of them things where if you're not watching it and taking note of what he's doing, if you're just watching the patient sort of thing, it's like, yeah, it does look like, you know, so there, you know, they were all at the end saying like, oh, I feel a lot better and stuff like that. But when you watch what he's doing, it's like I say, he was doing exactly the same things to everybody, regardless of what complaint they had. And some of the things he was doing was proper, you know, like fucking new age woo-woo stuff. And it's not, you know, and it's like usually with woo-woo stuff, you can tell, you know, like it shows you like the you know, like the dressed funny, or, you know, they're, you know, well, I won't call them doctors because they're not, but they're like, you know, doctor's office or whatever, is all like dream catchers.
They do like tests on people, like people in assessments and stuff.
Yeah, well, what he did with this last was, I mean, first he sat and talked to her for a while, just to, you know, just sort of like asking her what her problems were and stuff like that. And I noticed when watching a couple of his videos, you know, I think I watched 5 different videos of him, and he does the same thing with everybody. He sits and talks to them for a while. And what he's doing there is, I eventually realised what he's doing there is what they call hot reading. You know, like what the evangelists, you know, the evangelists do, where people fill out prayer cards, and then they say, you know, like, oh, and all of a sudden they get a message from God saying, you know, Mr. Brown of 26 Summit Road, you know, you've got a bad back or whatever. You know, God's smiling on your back. He was basically doing that because what they've done is they've told him what was up. Then he'd do a few things, you know, like crack the toes or the wrists or whatever. And then he'd say, oh, do you suffer from, like, you know, I don't know, pain in your knee or whatever? And they'd go, oh, yeah, how did you know that? It's like, well, because you told him about fucking 10 minutes ago, but you forgot already, you know. And he did this thing where he's taking this woman's pulse. And then he's like, oh, do you suffer from, what was he said to her? First off, he says, do you suffer from, I can't remember what the first one was, but it was something that's like really common. You know, everybody gets it, you know, at some point. And then he said about like menstrual cycle problems. Well, obviously she's a woman, so, you know, so that's unique to her. And it's like I said, you can ask that to a woman and they'll either say yes or no, you know, and she happened just to say no to him. And then he said about urinary tract or bladder infections. And she said, you know, like, oh yeah, I'll get like, you know, and she said like, oh, I'm on, you know, tablets for it at the minute. He's like, oh, and then she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. It's like, but women get urinary tract infections a lot more than what men do. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, on average, you know, she could have answered no to that question and he'd have just carried on as normal, you know, sort of thing. Yeah. Which, like I say, if you watch just one video, you think, bloody hell, that's amazing. When you watch a bunch of them and doing the same thing to people, it's you know, it's like, well, he's just basically he's is just doing the same thing to everybody. And, you know, it makes it look amazing because at the end of the video, the patient says, oh, I feel better. Whether they actually are or not is another thing. I mean, it's like the same with massage. You know, it's like massage doesn't really...
I've never had one of those. I've never had a massage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like massage doesn't really have any health benefits. It's more of a relaxation thing, you know, like you're nice and, basically what it is you're nice and warm, you know, they make sure that you're nice and warm, and then you get somebody, you know, like, you know, touching your skin and moving your muscles about and everything like that. And one of the things that human beings like to do is to touch other humans, especially when that, you know, when the stimulation you get from it is pleasant. That's one of the reasons why. That's one of the reasons why, you know, sex is nice, you know. But when you do a massage, stuff like that, you don't really get anything. And when you get these people saying like, you know, oh, I've had this, you know, I had this disease and it was cured by massage or it was cured by chiropractor, it wasn't. You know, because chiropractor is again, it's just like you know, like how they have like shaman doctors, you know, witch doctors or whatever, and they just lay on hands, you know, and chant a magical spell or whatever, and you feel better.
Yeah.
That's why that feels better, because somebody's laying on hands and well, not pretending, but they're laying on hands and paying attention to you, sort of thing. Yeah. So you feel a bit better, you know. Because I say, if you went to hospital and they didn't have any nurses there, and basically all you did was just sit around and wait for doctors to come and see you once a day, you wouldn't feel as good as what you do when you go to hospital and there's nurses there. Well, except if you go to hospital and there's nurses there, and the nurses are like, you know, really bad, miserable, stuck up, ignorant fuckers. Like
I know.
Like what happened when my mum were in hospital.
I was to say that when I was in hospital for a week when I was about 14, when I had my big operation on my legs, there weren't really that many female nurses. They were all male nurses, but you know. Yeah. But to be fair, I think nurses did a better job of making me feel comfortable than the doctors did.
Yeah, it's like I said there. It's men understand men's problems. You know, this is one of the things there. It's you know, there are a lot of you know, the vast majority of nurses are women. You know, because it's like I say, because you know, when men are in hospital, you know, it's nice to see a woman. You know, it's nice to have a woman pay attention to you. You know, it's not to say that they don't have any, you know, skills and medical skills and stuff like that. You know, they obviously do, and it is a hard job. You know, but it is like I say, you know, you have male nurses, and you know, when they're helping you, it doesn't feel as good as what it would if it was a nice, attractive woman.
But it's the same thing. It's like being on a plane, isn't it? It's like being on a plane with air hostesses. You know? Yeah. The problem is, though, it's like they said there, it's when you're on a plane with air hostesses and there's a male, well, they don't call them air hostess anymore, what they call them? Flight attendants, or no, they don't use the male and female thing anymore, do they? They call them flight attendants or something. Yeah. And you tend to notice that the male flight attendants are, how can we say, flamboyant. Yeah. I mean, every time I've been on a plane, I've seen a you know, a male flight attendant. He's always been you know, a friend of Dorothy, and you know, I don't ever recall seeing a male flight attendant that wasn't. There probably are. I'm just talking about what I've seen, but there probably are. But that sort of job tends to attract young women more than it does men. Yeah. And that is a fucking hard job as well, because I used to work with somebody and she was a stewardess, and she says there, it's like she says you start the job off thinking you're going to be flying to exotic locations and having adventures, and she says, and you're not. You know, it's like she says there, she says you do about 5 or 6 flights a day, and then you can end up, you know, like thousands of miles away from home on your layover. You know, she says you know, they sometimes sort out somewhere for you to stop, but not always. You know, she says you might get to go home like maybe once a week. It's sort of that kind of job. It's sort of the, you know, it's hard. No, fuck it. I'm gonna say I'm trying to say things without trying to sound sexist, but fuck it.
It's kind of the female equivalent of being a long distance lorry driver, because that's a job that's overwhelmingly male, and it's just, you know, you're out and about, you're doing your trips and your multi drops and your tramping and whatever. You might only get to go home once a week if you do tramping, and you know, it's like, say, you're away for a long time. The pay's not that good.
No,
you know, the pay's not half as good as what you'd think it'd be. I mean, being an HGV driver pays a lot better than being a flight attendant. But it's like they say, a lot of the guys I know that are truck drivers, you know, that do you know, long distance sort of thing, that do tramping. Yeah. They you know, it's like they say, it's like, yeah, you might get paid a fair bit for doing it, but if you're married or whatever and you've got kids, it's a right pain in the arse, you know, especially when, you know, when I used to work at Freightliner, there was a guy, and he was a hardcore, you know, he was one of the people that, you know, truck driving was in his blood. And his missus used to come down to the depot because we had a truck park there. And you'd see her once a week, usually on either a Thursday or a Friday. And she'd come down to the depot in car and she'd fetch kids with her. And, you know, like he'd park up when his hours were out or when he went off shift or whatever. Yeah. And, you know, like he'd get out his truck, go and have a shower in the shower block. And then his missus would turn up with kids, and, you know, they'd have like a big hug, you know, because they hadn't seen daddy for a fortnight or whatever. They might go off somewhere and, like, you know, watch a film at Pictures, or, you know, have a meal out or something like that. And then at the end of the night, he'd come back come back on his own in a taxi, get back into his truck, get down and go to sleep, you know. And that was his, you know, kind of days off seeing his family kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I talked to him about it, and he says on average, he says I get to spend actual time at home. Yeah, maybe two or three days out of a month. Yeah, he says other than that, it's
kind of here. But, you know, everyone I know who does most people I know who have got driving jobs, who I knew when we were kids, they were all people who were very, you know, into motors and stuff as kids. But, you know, and and it's like they say, but the job, you know, some of them, they're married, or, you know, and a few of them have got kids of their own now, but they say that, you know, they're at home once a week, but they're always telling me, you know, that the kids are, you know, ringing up saying, you know, they miss their daddy, you know, where's daddy?
Yeah.
Because obviously young children don't understand.
Yeah, they don't understand dad's away.
He's working, you know, he's working to put food in your fridge.
No, so, you know, it's like there, you know, dad's away and that, but dad's away working to keep that roof over your head and keep food on the table. You know, it's like all people that work away for a living. You know,
well, my dad's done since I was about 4, so
yeah.
Obviously, you know, my parents haven't been together now for years, so
yeah. I mean, there were some on, I think it was this morning, other day I caught, and a woman ringing up the fucking agony aunt, you know, oh, I'm jealous that my boyfriend works away a lot and it's you know, harming our relationship. You know, she says, oh, well, I knew you know, when I met him, he was working on oil rigs, and he still does. You know, so he's away from home, you know, like 6 weeks at a time. And she says, you know, and she says, I knew that. She says, but, you know, I'm jealous that while he's working away, you know, he's not with me and things like that. And it's like, well, he's working on oil rigs. You knew that when do you expect him to give up his job, which, you know, working on oil rigs is a well-paid fucking job. You know, that is a well-paid job that's fucking worth going away for 6 weeks for. You know, it's like, do you expect him to pack in his job? Because, let's face it, if he packs in working on oil rigs, what's he going to do? You know, that's why working on oil rigs pays a lot, because a lot of the skills you get aren't really, you know, are quite specialised, and they aren't really transferable. You could probably get a job working in construction or engineering, but it wouldn't be like a very high-level job, so it wouldn't be paying very well. You know, you wouldn't probably get paid half as much as what you get for working on fucking rigs, like. Yeah, it's stuff like that fucking annoys me. Yeah. I've done that. I mean, I've only time I ever had to go away for work. I had to go to Ireland once. when I was working at Siemens. I went to Ireland for 2 days, and I had to go. And that was just for, you know, like they were doing some training, and they were doing the training in Ireland. The company paid for me. Basically, they paid for me to go over to Ireland, just basically take a quick flight over to Ireland, do a day's training, then stay over one night and come back the following morning.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I ever went away working. It's like I say, you know, I do, you know, there is a lot of respect to be had for people that do go away working a lot, regardless of what it is doing, you know. And it's like I say, you know, being a fucking flight attendant or whatever is a shit job. You know, and them that do it for a long time, you know, it's kudos to them, because I won't be able to put up with half that shit that they have to put up with. You know, fucking screaming kids and people pissed up on them and puking up on them and everything like that.
I know, yeah. Yeah. I know the feeling. I mean, I remember seeing hearing about things like that when I'm, you know, back in 2006, me and my family were on like a 13-hour flight to Singapore and Australia and all that, and we went from New Zealand to Los Angeles, and
well, that's it. Speaking of the thing is, another airline went bust last week, but it was BMI or the Fly BMI or something like that. That died. No, it's probably died because the what they call it, people can't afford really to be going away on holiday anymore, and all these low cost airlines. You know, all the low cost airlines are finally starting, I think, to find out that, you know, just operating like 3 or 4 flights a day to, you know, 1 or 2 places isn't really that profitable.
So the only time I've been on a plane, well, the only time I went last year was to go out and visit my dad in Poland, and the time before that was on my last holiday with my mum and her partner. We went to Mallorca, and yeah, I mean, I had a good time there. I did. I got to go clubbing on my own and stuff. But then so I've only been out. The last time I went on the plane was just to go to my dad's Poland, and the holiday. I mean, the proper holiday this last year and this year will probably just be TF Nation.
Yeah. I'm going to say I've got no plans for going away anywhere this year because I just can't afford it. But no, I'm going to say there's not particularly anywhere where I want to go, really. It's like if I'm spotting, you know, like if I see something, it's usually, you know, like a day trip sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, like, oh, you know, let's go here, you know, one day, or this is on somewhere. You know,
like Sheffield or like that, or
No, not anymore. Not anymore. I don't travel very well. See, this is the thing. It's I'm not very good on, you know, like buses and trains anymore. I don't know why. It's ever since I started with the fucking what they call it thing. I don't like it's. I get on a bus, and especially when buses full. I mean, it's like, say, if I get on a bus and it's if a bus comes, I've got to travel by bus, and a bus comes and it's full, I won't get on it because it means having to stand up. You know, it's having to stand up for an extended period of time.
I know. Things like bus drivers everywhere. They never wait for anyone to sit down.
No. Yeah, bear in mind, it's when buses are full and you're standing up. What you're doing is you're trying to balance inside a wobbly, moving metal box with other people banging into you all the time and stuff. You know, and it's that, and then it's even worse when you're on the train, because usually when you're on the train, it's a longer journey. You know, you get on bus and, you know, like it might be, you know, 10, 15 minutes and you're in town or whatever. If you get on train down to Birmingham, that's what, 2 hours?
Yeah.
I mean, when I went, I can't remember when it was when I went to fucking auto assembly, but I ended up having to stand up the entire way back. because there were no seats, and that, you know, that was even before I got my thingy with fibromyalgia, and I was knackered just from doing that, and you know, fair bit of pain and tired just from doing that, standing up all the way home, and you know.
I think I remember before I went to my first TF Nation practically 2 years ago now. I was looking at TF old like auto assembly haul videos and stuff, and I think I watched one of yours. I was looking at all the hauls to see what people bought. I seem to remember you had quite a bit. You had quite a bit of the one I saw you bought.
Yeah, I remember I went 1 year, and I think that was when I was working, and I'd saved up literally as much money as I could. And I did get quite a lot of stuff because I was like, you know, I'm buying, you know, all this stuff all together, you know, how much for it all together sort of thing. So I ended up with a lot more because I was buying loads of things all together kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, like 2 years ago, I went, because it was my first time, I knew I'd be kind of overwhelmed once I got into that dealer room, and I was. I went in total for the weekend with $1,000 spending money. Yeah. And, yeah, including food. I mean, I had some help with food and drink because I had access to the executive lounge, so I could get some free drinks and booze at times.
Yeah.
But, yeah, including like food and drinks in the evening stuff because the bar was expensive, and yeah, including all the stuff I bought, I had spent pretty close to $1,000.
Interesting. I remember the first auto assembly I went to, I think it was 2010, and I was a bit fucking. That's when I was starting with me, you know, like all my fucking angsty stuff. But I remember sat in what they call it, and that was the first time Nosy and that had been as well. And just sat in bar. I can't remember where I sat with, but I just seen him and Sam walk in, and both of them looking like fucking rabbits in headlights, you know. And I just turned my head, saw him walking, and I just went, "Nosy."
Yeah, well, the first time, yeah, well, back in 2017 when I first went, it was very odd. So I still don't have very many YouTube subscribers. You know, I'm not really bothered about that. I appreciate any support I get. I mean, I've jumped up a few subscribers now since I'm uploading stuff more regularly. So I've got better.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember how many subs. I think I've got about 340 subs on mine, and most of them will probably most of them will be people that have subbed in past, and either they don't use that account anymore or something, or they just don't watch my stuff, because I put videos on and I'm lucky if I get, you know, 20 views on any of my videos that I put on, unless it's something like really, unless I put something really spicy on, you know, like, I mean, the video I did about the interview between Piers Morgan and that black transsexual model that said all like, yeah, that's it. That one, even to this day, still gets shitloads of hits. You know, it's like I say, I've never been that bothered about subs, because it's like I say, if you're going to be bothered about subs, then you might as well be making a proper go of YouTube and turning it into a business, which, you know, you could do, or you still can in theory. It's becoming harder and harder, because the content of your videos has to be what YouTube like. You know, so if you say if you've got any swearing in your videos, no, you won't be getting any money off that.
Have you ever had a copyright claim before?
Not a proper copyright claim. I've had where I've used stuff in videos under fair use, I might add, which means I'm allowed to use it.
Have you had a video that's been blocked before?
I did oh God, what was it? I've had loads. Literally, anytime I use anything that's by the BBC, it gets what they call it. You know, it's like back when my channel was monetized before
It's only happened to me twice so far when I've done my reactions videos. It happened to me last week for the first time in ages. Like I was doing an episode. I was doing reactions to an old episode of Goosebumps, and it copyright claim from Scholastic, the Goosebumps publishers. And I don't think that was to do anything with the audio or anything, because the show isn't owned by Scholastic. The books are. The show's owned by Saban. But because I put the full title and everything in of the story, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you get there's two different sorts of copyright strike, because you get the you know, the copyright takedown, which is basically where somebody claims copyright over video and it gets taken down because they don't want their material used or something like that. And then you get the kind of, what is it, the ad warning or something like that, where they're all right with videos staying up, but any money it makes,
view it. They don't want the
any money it makes, they take, or they take a lot of it, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I demonetize my channel, because it's like I say, I don't use, you know, it's not like I upload full episodes of The Simpsons or anything like that. You know, if anything, I'll use like short sound clips or short video clips, something like that. It's like, yeah, all right, so I might go over the 30-second, you know, limit, because it's apparently you're allowed, under fair use, you're allowed to use, like, was it 30 seconds at a time before it sets the what they call it thingies off. And I sometimes, yeah, all right, so I use more than 30 seconds, but under fair use, I can do that, because it's, if somebody's speaking and making a point, you know, and it takes them 2 minutes to talk about something and get to the point, then that's how long it takes. You know, there's no point in taking a 2-minute speech or a 5-minute speech and then chopping it up into 30 second blocks.
Yeah, I mean, do you know, I remember hearing, obviously, I assume you know of the nostalgia critic, Doug Walker.
Oh, fucking.
I mean, the thing was, I know that when he started, because he started his series on YouTube, and he had serious issues with copyright when he started. He couldn't get the permission to but somehow now he's making his living out of it. He's like,
it's basically what it was in the early days of YouTube, and well, so the early days, it's even quite recent stuff. You know, we're talking like, well, within the past sort of like 5 years or so. They introduced the what they call, you know, the DMCA, the Digital Millennium Copyright Act takedown, where literally anybody could flag a video and say claim copyright over it. So what he would do is he'd use like scenes from films in his reviews, and like he'd play a scene and then he'd talk, you know, he'd take piss out of it or whatever. And both companies and individuals were DMCAing his videos because, you know, like, oh, it's using copyright material. Unfortunately, it comes under fair use, you know, because it's critiquing the video. So you are allowed to use footage like that for purposes of critiquing, both under American and British law. So, you know, it's like saying a lot of people, you know, people like Thunderfoot, Sargon, you know, and all people like that use stuff were getting DMCA takedowns. And that's calmed down a lot now because you know, I think YouTube finally realised that, you know, he put a video up and some randomer just, you know, does a DMCA takedown on it. You know, that's not really good for business because that alienates your user base kind of thing. You don't hear about DMCA takedowns much anymore because they've become a less powerful tool of censorship. Because some people, it was especially in the, you know, like in the kind of YouTube atheist thing, where, you know, you're getting like, you know, like Kent Hovind and Ken Ham and, you know, King Ray Comfort and stuff like that. They're, you know, whoever it is that manage their, you know, accounts or whatever, were issuing DMCA takedowns because they didn't like having piss taken out of them. It's like, well, tough, you know. And then you get like trolls taking people's videos down because they didn't like what was being said in them, you know, sort of thing. Yeah. But that's kind of fallen by the wayside now. The only reason why you could be expecting a DMCA now is if you are uploading, like, you know, full films or full episodes of things without any kind of what they call transformative content. You know, it's like that woman that was trying to sue Sargon of Akkad because she says, like, oh, there was no transformative content in the video we used of her doing something retarded. And that's going to fail miserably if it ever gets to court. I don't know whether it will do. Because it's like I say, yes, he did use transformative content because he played a clip of her doing whatever it was, and then a voiceover of himself talking about what she was doing, and then another clip, and then him talking about it, you know. So it is transformative content because he's edited in his own, title sequence and his own interjections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some woman tried it with Thunderfoot. So I remember it was one of the things he did. It was a woman whose channel is mainly about, like makeup tips and stuff. And but then for some reason she decided to do a video talking about Islam. And he basically took the video and he picked her apart. He destroyed every point that she had to say. And she DMCA'd him because she said that he had no right to use her video. And it's like he said, well, I do. And the video ended up going back up because, he said, basically, you talked about something, then I interjected and disproved your point. And then you talked about something, and then I did a bit where I disproved your point. That's how it works. That's how critique works.
I remember back in the really early days, like 2006, 2007, like this was when the whole cyberbullying started. YouTube was seemed to be a big platform for that. When people were filming fights and stuff, and it was on the news, like saying, if a parent or someone wants the footage of their kid being bullied taken off, they had to contact the YouTube.
They had to report it. Yeah, because that's what I say. YouTube didn't have a reporting system when it first started. If you wanted a video removed for any purpose, you had to email them or ring them or something and request that it be removed and state your reasons for doing so. Then they brought in the reporting system as kind of a way of streamlining that. But the problem is what they've done with the reporting system is over time, it's gradually become more and more automated. So that, somebody can just randomly, look at a video and click the report button. It doesn't matter what they're reporting it for. They can say somebody is doing a review of a fucking toy, and they can report it for racism, and because it's racism, it'll get taken down straight away. But then you have to request a manual review, so the system automatically takes it down without anybody actually looking at whether the complaint has merit, and then you have to contact them to say, this video is not racist, it's me reviewing a fucking Transformer or a My Little Pony figure or something. There's no racist content in there, and then you have to sit down, twiddle your thumbs for a while, and, your chances are it'll go, they'll go, yeah, all right, fair enough, there's no racism in it. But you'll also get the what they call it ones, the extremely woke thing is that, oh, well, you've been accused of racism, so it must be racist, so therefore I'm not putting your video back up. Yeah, I mean, I had that with Twitter. I got banned off there for citing violence against, I can't remember what it was. And I said, well, I'm disputing this ban because, I haven't done what I'm accused of. And I just got something, my reply from Twitter was literally, well, your account is being deemed to be a racist, like neo-Nazi, whatever. So it will not be restored at this time. It's just like, all right. It's like what they've done with Tommy Robinson. They're saying there he's inciting, with Facebook and Instagram. Oh, his pages on Facebook and Instagram, have said this, that, and whatever. And it's like both Dave Cullen and Sargon have said that, despite them being followers of Tommy Robinson's accounts on those platforms for years, he's never said any of the things that he's been accused of. But they're just doing it because it's Tommy Robinson. They don't want the hassle. Which, in theory, you could sue them for libel. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, it's one day they'll get somebody on, like on YouTube, and they'll take the channel away. Somebody that like their living comes from like YouTube or Twitch or something like that. They'll ban somebody off there for a frivolous reason, and they'll get sued. Because obviously, you're allowed to sue people for loss of earnings. You sue people loss of earnings. If you sue them for loss of earnings and libel, obviously then, whichever platform it is, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, then has to appear in court and specify the reasons why they've done it and what evidence they have to suggest that, this person has said or done these things. It's like, I think it was it Lauren Southern got banned off Patreon. I think it was because they said that things that she's not done on Patreon or not done on done outside of Patreon, like a support for, that company that's basically an NGO that facilitates illegal immigration into both Europe and United States. For doing a thing about them saying, these people do this, it's illegal, and people should know about that. And she got banned off Patreon for her supporting, that sort of thing. And it's like I say, well, that's basically loss of earnings. You could in theory sue Patreon for loss of earnings.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it as libel or slander as well if you liked, but yeah, I think one day that's going to come. That's going to come, and and if it does, it sets a really nice precedent, and it'll hit, the whole Silicon Valley mafia really hard, because they'll do it to the wrong. I mean, look at what happened to Gorka. Where they did that thing where they put that video out of, I don't know whether Hulk Hogan was drunk or something, and I can't remember what he'd done. And he lost his job at WWE, and then a guy who they'd outed him as gay, when it's like he not been particularly happy with him, because whether he's gay or not's not his business except his, paid for Hulk Hogan to sue Gorka, and he successfully sued them and bankrupted the company.
So I don't really follow wrestling really that much anymore. I was never really into it, but I used to like some of the old SmackDown games. But
yeah, I used to watch wrestling quite regularly, sort of during the early 2000s, but then I went off it.
The thing is, though, since we know it's not real, it's since it's not real, it's like, say, it's a soap opera. For except the characters are all like big burly sweaty men, it's quite and it's the the storylines, and then they integrate the fights into the storylines, and the fights are quite interesting to watch, even though 9 times out of 10 the outcomes of the fights have been decided before they've even hit the ring. Because some of them aren't. Some of them usually featuring the not the top tier wrestlers, but sort of like near the bottom tier, the jobbers. They're not decided. Some wrestling matches that include jobbers, the bottom rung wrestlers, are decided because they need to start a storyline off with this particular person, so they have to have him fight somebody. But a lot of the time with the some of the jobbers, they just let them fight and just see what happens, kind of thing. Because it's not relevant to to the storyline that they're pushing. But yeah, I stopped watching it because it got to a point where I was only watching the pay-per-views. Because I couldn't watch Raw or SmackDown because they were both on Saturday morning, and at that time I was working on the Post. So on a Saturday morning when Raw and SmackDown was on, I was out delivering fucking posts, so I couldn't keep up with the. Oh, you were a postman
and stuff. You what?
You were a postman.
Yeah, for 2.5 years.
Yeah,
well, that's it. Yeah, I couldn't watch the programs because I couldn't keep up with the storylines because I wasn't able to watch like Raw and SmackDown. Sort of like if you're watching if you watch Coronation Street or EastEnders, and then and you don't watch it for like 3 months, and then you start watching it again, and you're like, who are these new characters? I've got no idea who they are, and what's happened to this character that I used to like, and what they're on about, who's been in prison, sort of thing. It's like that. It's like I said.
Then again, I used to watch.
What?
Yeah, Corey's not nearly as good as it used to be nowadays. It's.
I don't know. I mean, I used to watch Emmerdale and Coronation Street, and then I just stopped when I stopped watching telly. And it's like my mum still watches it, but it's like sometimes I'll come down to me watching it, and it's like, a couple of characters I still recognise. But then it's like, who's that? What's going off? Why is so and so doing that or whatever? And it's like that, and I'm just like, because I haven't watched it for that long, it's like I haven't got a fucking clue what's going off. Or suddenly like new buildings appear, You know, like, what the hell is that? Where did that spring from? You know?
Yeah, I mean, you still got like the classic characters. Like Ken's not in it much now, but that's because he's like really old. So
Yeah, he's really old, and I think
Roy's still there. He's still in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing with what they call him, Ken Loach, him that plays Ken Barlow. Is it Ken Loach? William Loach.
Roach.
Yeah, Will Roach. That's it. Yeah, he's getting on a bit. Plus, I think it also knocked him for 6. You know that when he got accused of being a kiddie fiddler.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, it's like it's like dialing back his involvement in the program, because it's like, you know, he's too old for this shit sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the guy that plays, was it Kevin Webster? You know how he was treated, appalling. Yeah, how they treated him was fucking appalling. When what really got accused, rape or something, or sexual misconduct of some description, and immediately fucking Kevin Webster disappeared from the program.
Yeah,
and then months later, after they finally figured out that oh right, yeah, what the person said about him was actually a complete and utter lie. They bring him back as though nothing had ever happened. It's like, if I were them, I'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I mean,
I thought they had him. I thought what they did. I thought they had him like the character was meant to be away in Germany or something.
Something like that. Yeah, they had to quickly write. Yeah, they had to quickly write.
Yeah, because he had that little boy Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Jack's had a really good storyline. He's recently had to have his foot amputated. Kevin's little kid, and he got a prosthetic.
Yeah, chopped off. Yeah, but that's it. See, they had to quickly come up with, like a cover story to patch up why the character.
Yeah.
There. I mean, they've done that before. Like with, like they'll start a storyline off with somebody, and then all of a sudden something happens, and they can't be in the program anymore, or they just quit or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
I mean, like Hodgson actor got fired, and I know that something he got. Yeah, but he did something inappropriate with someone or something.
Oh, there was the guy that played, what they call him, in Corrie. There was him that played Ashley.
Yeah.
I know they got rid of him pretty quick. They killed him off in the train crash thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't originally. Yeah, he wasn't originally supposed to be killed off in that, but they actually sacked him because it got to the point where this guy was. He was saying like he was drinking all the time.
Yeah.
He was drunk all the time, and he wasn't turning up for rehearsals and stuff like that. I mean, they had him on, if I remember rightly, not long after he finished being in Coronation Street, they had him on fucking Dancing on Ice.
Yeah, I know.
And they were saying, like, he's not turning up for training sessions and stuff. Because and then it showed you one where he did turn up for training sessions, and he was very obviously hungover. While they were talking to him, he's still slurring his speech and everything like that. It was. Whether he was hungover or drunk, I don't know. But
I mean, I suppose being just some people that are in the public eye, maybe don't cope with it so well.
Well, no, it's been on telly for years. I mean, look at the who were it? There were somebody on, I think it was Towie or something like that.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, out of blue, she started, like, not turning up for work or turning up for work drunk. And, she's like, oh, I'm not very well or whatever. And then when they were looking on her, like her Instagram and Twitter, she was like, out boozing and stuff, 7 nights a week. And the sacked her from it, because obviously when they need to be doing filming, they can't be, like, oh, well, we'll put this off for a couple of days, because so-and-so's again.
Well, well, I mean, I've heard, this happens both with, young and old stars, it happens with, middle-aged people as well. But something I had recently, I mean, that Daniel Radcliffe, who's Harry Potter, he actually revealed a few years ago that he's dyspraxic.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was still, only a young teen. I think it was during the filming of the fifth Potter film. He said he doesn't like his performance in it, but because he was dyspraxic, he was getting frustrated because he was having problems with the most basic things, like tying his bootlace and stuff. Yeah. And he said that he would drink a lot and often show up to the set drunk.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
it's like what they call Charles Hawtrey, you know, like in the Carry On films.
yeah,
Most of the time when you see him in Carry On films, he's actually shit-faced
yeah,
because he was a raging alcoholic. And most of them were at that time, you know, like all Sid James and all stuff like that. You know, that's what people used to do during the 60s and 70s. People used to drink a lot, you know.
yeah. Well,
still got to work and things like that. But it's like they said,
they didn't have social media and stuff back then to, you know, expose everything, did they?
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, it's like there's a you know, story where they said like about it was in one of the documentaries about the Carry On films. Said there, you know, you could tell that Charles Hawtrey was shit-faced or hungover because he'd turn up for work with a crate of lemonade, and what he'd do is he'd you know, like he'd come into work and he'd be hungover and he'd just sit there and drink, you know, like 6, you know, big bottles of lemonade, you know, to rehydrate himself, sort of thing. To stop himself feeling so hungover, and then as soon as they finished filming, he'd be straight off down pub again.
Oh God, yeah. I'll say, do you mind if I nip down and have a cigarette? Do you want to officially take over for 5 minutes?
Well, I don't know what to talk about, but yeah.
Yeah, you can. If we go on for another 10 minutes, say when I get back, if you want to, and then we'll call it. I don't know where Sam is. I'm going to assume something happened to his power.
Well, let's call it. Let's call it then, because I don't think Sam's coming back. You know, so we might as well call it here, and then it's for say you can go and have a fag, and I'm not just going to sit here rambling on. Sort of thing.
Okay then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Carl. Okay, so that was tonight's live stream, guys. So thanks all for everyone who's watched, and thanks to my guests, Sam and Mr. 000firestorm89 and Mr. Godpikachu. All right. So thanks again, Carl.
Yeah, it's no worries. Laters.
All right. See you soon.